Welcome everyone to the Astrology Vibrations channel. I am posting this video on Wednesday, October 12, 2022 to alert you about the extremely powerful solar eclipse that will occur on Tuesday, October 25th, 2022 at 3:59 a.m. Pacific Time. Eclipses bring important and lasting changes. We have already begun to feel the effects of this eclipse since the ending of September, and we will continue to feel its effects for 5 or 6 months after the eclipse. It will bring us lasting effects which will be seen globally and also individually. In this very short video, I will limit the topic to the most dramatic changes that Donald Trump will experience. I'm going to tell you straight in plain English about the drastic effects with a minimum of astrological references that will be for the benefit of our more advanced listeners. If you wish to find out more about how this eclipse will affect you individually, then send me an email to astrologyvibrations@gmail.com. I'll write that email address below so you can find it. Just click on the description. I'll send you a completely free horoscope and basic interpretation. Then tune in to our Saturday live stream at 3 p.m. Pacific. This week it'll be called Astrology in Action number 6, the Eclipse Special, or catch the replay. I will explain to everyone how to interpret this major astrological event and how it will affect your individual chart and also the world at large. Now, this is a new channel, and people have told me they're not getting the notifications they signed up for. So if more people would give thumbs up and subscribe, YouTube will promote the channel more. So please help us out, subscribe, and thumbs up. Now, to the future of Donald Trump. And I have subtitled this video, The Final Countdown, which sounds ominous because it is. Here we have Donald Trump's natal chart, and it's surrounded by the planets as they will occur on the day of the eclipse, October 25th, 2022. Looking at Donald's natal chart, I'm pointing to a little axis in yellow in the center of the chart. This is his sun and his moon. From Gemini to Sagittarius, this shows that Donald Trump was actually born during a lunar eclipse. So for this reason, and for many others that you're about to find out, Trump will be affected extremely powerfully by this impending eclipse. This eclipse involves an exact conjunction with, and you see down here all of these things circled in yellow in the outer ring. This outer ring is the day of the eclipse. And we have Venus, the moon, and the sun all exactly in 2 degrees of Scorpio, along with the south node. The south node is the indication which tells us that the eclipse will bring into prominence Trump's past actions and his past karma. And Donald Trump will have to look to women who are going to be a major source of the reckoning, which is going to be unavoidable. Looking at his natal Saturn and Venus, which are on the inside ring, and I've circled them with a light grayish color here, that I'm pointing to. This is the inner ring, Saturn and Venus. They are conjunct at his birth. This is a real source of trouble and unavoidable problems, especially in the 8th house matters of Scorpio. Scorpio is the axis of this eclipse that we've got, remember. And the Scorpio rules 8th house matters. 8th house matters are other people's money. Other people's money, meaning mortgages, loans, business partnerships, and all the sources of big money that Donald has relied upon for his entire life. We know that all the wealth he has pretended to have was actually money derived from other sources, often nefariously. Wealth is shown in the natal chart from this Scorpio axis to Taurus in the second house, and in his second house of possessions and value and money, what do we find? We find a conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune. Jupiter and Neptune is the classic sign of what we've all been witnessing in Donald. Deception, lies, 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 and more lies. He's the Wizard of Oz, the great and powerful Oz snake oil salesman. So this Neptune and Jupiter is in, which is deception, is in his house of money, possessions, anything of value, including priceless documents. Now, looking across at the day of the eclipse, the other axis of into other people's money over here, look what we find. The same as we have in his natal house, a conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune. These are the lies, deception that he's still immersed in to this very day that we've all been witnessing. So going from the second house to the eighth house, we find this exact indicator of lies and deception. Looking again to the second house and just outside of it, this is a current thing that's affecting him. It's sort of I'm circling it. It's a kind of a light rosy beige color. This is a Mars and Moon, which are progressed in his chart. This, in other words, means it's something that's affecting him today. And to be exact, the Moon is about 3 months away from an exact conjunction with this Jupiter that we're talking about. It's like a fuse. Let's say within 3 months' time, we're going to expect some kind of a big explosion where I expect to see his Jupiter, which has been his protector in all his life, is going to blow up in his face like a big hand grenade. And he's going to lose this protection in 3 months' time. I would predict that in the month of, by no later than the month of January, we're going to find a time bomb go off, and it'll be something like an indictment or a trial. So you can expect us within 3 months' time. There will be a female involved in this and will result in financial ruin. Now, what is the way out that he sees for this? He looks to look at Mars here circled in red. This is on the outside, and it's going to start moving backwards at the end of this month, at the end of October. We'll be seeing Mars going retrograde and going backwards a while, and it takes a very long time to go direct and then come across one thing after another in his natal chart. Boom, boom, boom. Each of these is like a little bomb going off, a little explosion. And it will affect so many things in his life, but he's looking to Mars to incite violence among his followers and supporters. But the real fact that's sad is that this influence that he has had over his supporters is waning, it's diminishing. And this influence is diminishing in a more rapid rate of diminishing. So he's losing his supporters and he's losing his strength, and his public support is waning. Now, I would say there may be small pockets of individuals, or the lone wolf person who has been fed lies and deception only and doesn't know the real truth, and we may see a little bit of outbursts of violence, but it's not like on the level of a civil war. As Mars does transit on the outer ring here, you see that it triggers one after another thing in his life. including the things that Mars is associated with in hitting the Gemini planets first. That would be stroke or heart, blood pressure problems, an aneurysm. It's hitting his Mercury here. He could have an aneurysm in the brain, followed by hitting in this area intestinal problems, gastric problems, and then into these problems with Leo. He has Pluto, Mars, and his ascendant, all Leo, with Mars hitting that. We have more risk of heart problems, stroke, blood pressure, very dangerous for the circulatory system and the heart. And if that's not enough, at the moment of this eclipse, we have a real terrifying square here involving, look up at the purple at the outer ring at the top. This is Uranus. Uranus is the planet that represents sudden, dramatic, unexpected change. And this is up at his midheaven, which would be indicating a sudden fall from what the midheaven represents, which is his position of power and authority in the world. So his king for a day position up here is going to crumble. And it's what you know in Tarot as a tower moment where everything falls apart. His fame and fortune will be irretrievably lost. This planet Uranus, I call it the unstoppable force. It brings about sudden, drastic, unexpected change and devastation. It's in a very bad aspect, a square to Saturn over here, which I've circled in a light grayish color on the outside. And it's in a square relationship to Saturn in Aquarius. Both of these, Uranus and Saturn, are a square in fixed signs, which is a negative thing for his Leo, which is also fixed signs, and a negative thing for the other fixed sign, Scorpio. So it's involving all the fixed signs. It's very, very powerful. And Saturn, which we were talking about, this one in beige over here in the 6th house, in his house of health. Saturn always shows restructuring and difficulties in the area of the house it's in, which is his house of health. Has been building up, I like to call it the, not like Uranus, the unstoppable, quick, unexpected change. It's more like a slow freight train. Now, this is the thing we've been watching with Trump, slow building, slow. It takes so long to get started because it is heavy and weighted down and has so much weight behind it. W-E-I-G-H-T. So long we've been waiting because that freight train to get going has to overcome a lot of momentum. And this Saturn represents justice, accountability, facing consequences, restriction, and the law. And everything gets torn down to the ground with this kind of transit of Saturn. Torn down to nothing and must be rebuilt from ground zero. Now that Saturn is moving, it's taken some while to get some momentum behind it, but now this freight train is gathering up some momentum and it cannot be stopped because of the weight behind it. And once this onslaught begins, it will cross over his area of relationships, and he's going to find himself, I think, in the state of being betrayed, something he really fears because he insists on loyalty, and he's going to find the people that he is closest to, his closest long-term partners, like his family. Everyone is going to abandon him. He will have lost his public image in standing in the world, and he will have lost his relationships. This public image of being a wealthy and powerful man is the thing that's most important to him in life. Nothing else really matters to him. That's all that matters to him, and it will evaporate. If he survives all this onslaught, he's going to be so weakened, reduced to a mental bowl of jelly with no strength to rebuild anything. If he survives until March, Pluto, down here, Pluto, a little bit surrounded in purple, has been in Capricorn forever. It's going to creep very slowly over the line and be into Aquarius, which is opposing all of his Leo things. And this is going to be such a big energy change in the entire world. The moment that this happens, this is going to be a drastic change that everyone will feel. Because Pluto will involve purging the bad things out of the past for a complete transmutation. So it governs the purging, the transmutation, and actual physical death also, or death and rebirth. At any event, whether it's an actual physical death or just a death of the circumstances involved here, it is in his it will be entering his 6th house of health. So having Pluto entering your house of health and Saturn going back and forth to the house of health is just about as bad a thing as you can have when it's opposing his natal Pluto and Mars and ascendant in Leo. It's showing physical health again and again. Now in astrology, we say there is a rule of 3. That is, if there is one strong indication for something, let's say physical health, there's one strong indication that there will be a challenge or difficulty in physical health. One indication, well, it's a chance that it'll happen. Give me 2 indications that there's a health problem, the chances get stronger. With 3 indications of increased bad health, that's like saying the chances are much stronger and getting stronger all the time. Do we have 3 indications? No, we have more than I can even count here. So many indications of a decline in health, and it's relentless pounding situation. He's like like I said, the boxer on the ropes in the prize fight, and he's on the ropes just getting pounded, one thing after another, but there's no referee there to call the fight. And so the indications are so strong from this eclipse right now, from this day that I'm reading this chart into the foreseeable future. He is approaching one downturn and one negative astrological event after another, losing all his wealth. To recapitulate, he will lose all his wealth, lose his health, and there is no relief in sight, just one thing after another. Up until now, he's had an amazing run of good luck, incredible, extreme good luck ruled by Jupiter, but he's been protected. And now he's looking at the other side of the coin. His luck has run out, and he will pay for all the lies, the deceit, and the castle of cards that he's built will come tumbling down. No respite for him, no relief. He will lose loyalty from the people that he never believed could possibly be disloyal to him, and it will be a big shock. It will be completely over, and he will be a totally broken man if he survives, because the final countdown has begun.